What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Nicotina Show. We are live. I'm joined by Sean, also known as Nerd Cosa Nostra. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. So, dude, today is finally the day. It is the finale of X-Men 97. I never thought we'd get here, but we are finally here, and I'm excited for it. I want to see what's going to happen. And the last episode left us in quite a predicament, especially for Wolverine.
Yeah. We're finally here. It doesn't feel like it's been 10 weeks, 10 episodes, but I mean, it obviously has. But yeah, the last episode was a banger. It ended with a huge cliffhanger. I think, again, like we talked about last week, something we all have been wanting to see. We saw it in the comics, hadn't seen it in animated or live. I don't think it's much of a spoilers for anyone out there. I'm sure many people have already seen or at least heard about what happened between Magneto and Wolverine. And then we went, and right when that happened, right, we went right to we went right to credits. So I have high expectations for this finale, the final episode. It was a 3-parter. This is part 3, so it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, they've been bringing the fire all season with every episode, with character development, storyline. So I can't imagine that we're going to get this far in the 10th episode, the finale for season 1, and they're just going to completely let the entire audience down. I just can't imagine that happening. So I have very high expectations for how this is going to play out.
Yeah, no, I really feel like the way that they've handled this, especially, I think we're gonna get, obviously them saving Wolverine's life, removing the adamantium from his body, and I mean, honestly, I think that we're gonna get something to the extent where Wolverine is going to leave the X-Men and go on his own, especially for the next season. Which I said before, I think this is going to allude to the arrival of Apocalypse as the main bad for the season 2. But still, I mean, we'll see how they go. Now, we saw that Jean Grey was being attacked by Cable, who's actually, is her son, but really isn't her son. It's kind of weird. And so it looked as if Jean was almost getting ready to die, as she was kind of saying her last goodbyes to Cyclops.
Yep. Yeah. That definitely. Because she was battling Sinister at the time. Cable shows up. Sinister starts to control Cable. Then who attacks Jean? So yeah, we left the last episode, as you pointed out, believing, hey, is Jean gonna die here? Because that's what obviously Cyclops believes, and Cyclops can't get to her obviously in time because he's on Asteroid M.
Asteroid M.
Yeah, she's down on the ground fighting Sinister. They're up there fighting Magneto. So it's not as if it's just a quick jaunt, across the beach to try and save her. I mean, if she's gonna die, she's gonna die, and there's nothing he can do about that. So I mean, I think that's probably what the other cliffhanger that we left with last week was what happens to Jean. And then now the aftermath of what happened to Wolverine. Well, actually, I think there's 3: Jean, Wolverine, and then the moral challenges I think Charles might face in this last episode or going into season 2 after seeing what Magneto just did to Wolverine. His lifelong friend,
definitely. He's gonna fuck him up.
Yeah, I mean, lifelong friend who just pulled all the adamantium out of Wolverine. I mean, obviously it's going to have to have some moral questions for Charles to say, okay, now what is my next step here? Do I go after my old friend and potentially kill him? Or, what do I do? Right. So
in the comics, he put Magneto in a catatonic state by mind wiping him. And obviously Magneto eventually came back, but that's where he wound up after he ripped the adamantium out of Wolverine's body. And when it comes to Jean Grey, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me but they've already done Phoenix.
Yep.
So if it was Madeline Pryor, I can understand why Phoenix would still exist because, when Sinister makes Madeline Pryor, so the Phoenix entity actually enters her body because she's another vessel that is so close to Jean Grey that it can exist. And so unless that happened again when they created Madeline Pryor, I'm not sure. But if she goes Phoenix, which they've already stated that the Dark Phoenix saga already happened in the past. There is a chance that, somehow she's able to harness that power once again. And if she does, it would kind of make sense where the story is going because, Xavier left the Shi'ar Empire. So there's a chance that the Empire will somehow catch on that the Phoenix has returned, and then they'll come to Earth basically saying that Jean Grey is too powerful to exist because Phoenix cannot be controlled, and that they're going to want to kill her. And that's sort of that's what they did in the comics. But I want to say it wasn't Jean Grey, it was Madeline Pryor.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to save her life because the Shi'ar Empire wanted her dead because they felt that she was just too powerful to exist, and that we saw what happened last time. And so then they go on to this, they go back with the Shi'ar Empire, and the X-Men basically have to take on a gauntlet of enemies to try and kind of like a tournament in order to save her life. And they take on Gladiator and a lot of the guys that we saw on the episode. And that was the other thing too, is that on the episode that featured the Shi'ar Empire, we saw a lot of side characters that exist in, within their universe. And so I feel like there's a reason why we saw them, because I think that we're going to see them again in season 2. So my prediction is that season 2 will be the X-Men in outer space with the Shi'ar Empire trying to save Jean Grey's life, while Wolverine's on the ground back on Earth, and he's going to leave the X-Men because he no longer has that adamantium in his body, and he kind of has to, kind of find himself, which will lead him to Apocalypse.
So do you think though Wolverine will, because in the comics he kind of morphs into this animalistic being? Do you think that will happen, or do you think he'll remain as Wolverine, like as he is, but just bone claws, and eventually finds his way back? So that's question number 1. Question number 2. You mentioned Apocalypse. Your prediction is that he could be or will be the main villain in season 2. Now, what we saw at the end of the last episode, where we saw Magneto take his helmet and put it on and kind of threw it onto Xavier. Now, do you think that was a tease for us to see Onslaught potentially, which is the merging of Magneto and Xavier's dark kind of their dark psyches, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's do you think that was a possible tease that we could see? It could
be a potential tease, sort of like when you saw the Winter Soldier holding having a Steve Rogers shield, so something like that. But I still think that he's gonna get that helmet off, and he's going to just completely mindfuck Magneto. Let me turn my fan on. Oh, there we go. And yeah, I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense if you take the X-Men off planet and have them deal with the Shi'ar Empire, especially for the beginning or first few episodes of 97 season 2, and that gives Wolverine space to kind of do his own thing on the ground. And when Apocalypse approaches him about putting the adamantium back in his body, what he doesn't know is that basically he figures it out, but he's trying to get him to be one of his horsemen. He wants him to be Death.
Yeah.
And so little as you know that, like, he has 2 candidates for that. It's him and Sabretooth. They have to fight each other. So that would be an easy way to introduce Sabretooth back into X-Men 97, which I think they're probably going to do, but I mean, we'll see what Beau DeMaio has in store for us. But I'm really excited for it. And guys, if you haven't done so yet, check out Nicotina.net. That's the website. Go on there. There are memberships available on there, and you can join the community for this show, my sports show, or Beyond the Unknown. All 3 of my channels are on there, and you can join each community, whichever one you want to join. And we talk about X-Men 97. We talk about a lot of different things on each community. So definitely check out Nicotina.net. And if you want to do so, become a member on there. It's much better to become a member on the website than it is on YouTube. So definitely go to the website. That's where everything is at. All 3 channels, all my content is on Nicotina.net on the website. So we're about 6 minutes away from watching X-Men 97, the finale, episode 10. If you want to stay with us and watch the episode, make sure that you watch and follow us over either on X or on Twitch, and you'll be able to watch the entire episode in its entirety as we watch it as well. And dude, I just ate a whole bowl of fries. I'm like ready to rock right now. I got my water, my fan. I'm ready to go. Um,
I'm still on Red Bull, man. At midnight,
dude, so late
I'm on
for
Red
that,
Bull.
man. I know it's
Hey,
crazy.
it is what it is.
Um, so definitely, you guys, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you follow me on X and make sure that you follow me on Twitch. That way we can watch X-Men 97 together and watch the finale. And obviously, you know, when next season rolls around, we'll be ready for that as well. But there is one more thing as well. After X-Men 97, we have another watch party that Sean and I have set up, and that is the Boys Season 4. We're going to be watching that live right here on the Nicotina Show every episode. If it releases at midnight, we'll be ready to watch it. If not, we'll set up a time to watch it the day it releases. It might even be that night as well. So a lot of fun. We're going to be watching The Boys Season 4 starting June 13th right here on the Nicotina Show. For more information on that, check out nicotina.net, and I'll have more information about that watch party when you join the community for the Nicotina Show. So definitely check out nicotina.net. So real quick, Sean, what do you think? What's your prediction for what we're going to see in this finale?
I'm thinking we might see one or two, maybe at least one. I'll be surprised if we don't see one main character killed off at the end.
Oh wow!
I'm predicting at least one. I mean, we didn't see Gambit's death coming, which was a shock. But again, this season they haven't been afraid to take risk. They haven't been afraid to, whether it was bring in characters, remove characters. So I'm thinking we'll get at least one shocking death. Yeah. And obviously the cliffhanger is going to be a major cliffhanger. I don't see this kind of just being a, we'll see you next season type thing. I think it's going to leave fans wanting and waiting to see season 2, which I'm hoping we get this year. I'm hoping we get season 2 sometime, possibly November, December-ish. I'm hoping, but I have a feeling it's not going to be until probably early next year.
Yeah, I would say early next year, like April or by this time next year.
Exactly, which is like the normal run for like TV shows. It's usually that long of a span. But I mean, they've built a lot of momentum and a lot of interest into this first season. So you would think they wouldn't want to wait too long for people to kind of just be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. But I mean, maybe they will to get people to go back and possibly rewatch season 1 all over again. Right before season 2, which I know a lot of people typically do that. But yeah, I'm predicting at least one main character death, and then another epic cliffhanger going into this. And I am hoping we see, because we did see in the previously where Bastian was talking to some of the other kind of cameo villains, right? I would like to see one of them actually show up, not just be on like a monitor. So that's where I'm not sold yet. I think you're probably more sold on the Wolverine potentially. So let me ask before I even say that, do you think he'll walk away here? We'll actually see that walk away, or are you thinking that won't happen until the beginning of season 2?
I think we'll see it here.
Okay.
I think we're gonna see him walk away, and that's gonna be kind of like the hard cliffhanger. But we're gonna see the return of Storm. So
yes,
like where he exits, Storm will come in. Yeah.
And she black suit. Yeah, I say she returned last time in that classic black suit. So that was pretty cool to see.
It was interesting the way they worked that in, because they went back to Mirror Island and they're like, "Oh, look, our old suits are still here." You know, oh, how convenient. And they kind of just like, you know, shoehorned that in, but it was cool though to see them in their old uniforms. I thought that was really cool, and the fact that they even did that, I thought was cool. I was like, dude, Beau DeMaio didn't have to do that.
No,
but he did it anyway. He's like, screw it, why not?
Yeah, and for me the best fitting for that kind of callback to those old suits, again being biased, it was Wolverine, because I mean I like the orange and the dark orange and brown.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
look,
cool one.
So. And I think we were kind of all surprised to see Jean put on that, you know, the old school mask and everything.
Yeah, that was really old school. I was like, yeah, wow, they went there.
Yeah, it was like 1963 look. But
let me refresh here and see if it's up yet. Well, no, not yet. So one more minute left, and then
1 minute left. Yeah. What are your predictions, real quick, before it gets uploaded?
Like I was saying, I think this is going to end with Wolverine losing his adamantium. We're definitely going to get, I think, the scene of him extending his claws and blood coming out. and then that's when he realizes that he needs to go off on his own.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to end with the Shi'ar Empire showing up. Now, if we don't progress that far, I think that
All right, it's up.
It's going to basically, I think it's going to pick up right. Well, it's obviously going to pick up right where we left off. So we'll see how far they get into the story. But here we go, guys. We're going to be watching X-Men 97 Tolerance is Extinction Part 3 right now. If you're watching on X or Twitch, we're about to watch the episode. If you're on YouTube, I'm going to end the stream on YouTube. So join us on Twitch or on X because we're going to watch X-Men 97. And that's going to do it for the Nicotina Show. And we'll see you on the flip side on the reaction show after the episode is over.